You had one job, Godiva. She had one job. Woo. Welcome to Evolution on a Saturday night. It has been far too long since I've uttered those words. It's been like 10 years, I feel like. 2020 has just gone on and on like a fucking Celine Dion song. How many of you have sadly had to quarantine alone during COVID at all? Anybody? Round of applause? Yeah. You lucky bastards. I had to quarantine with my husband. Marriage is not designed for that kind of isolation, let me tell you that. That's how shit like The Shining happens. I'm not sure which one of us is Jack Nicholson, but it's a flip of the coin every day. Someone's going to get an axe to that bathroom door, I tell you. He's actually here tonight, my husband. Husband. Wave. So everyone can judge you. Excellent. Yes, we've been together 11 years. Very exciting. 11 years and we still have sex. Occasionally even with each other. Yes, I'm very lucky. Even on the way here tonight, because I'm not used to performing with COVID conditions. I forgot everything. I forgot nail glue, and I forgot shoes, and I forgot the most important thing of all, a mask. I know. And I don't think about these kind of things because, you know, there's lots of people in this world that look better with the masks on, and I'm not one of them. So I don't really think about it. So, tonight is all about me, if you haven't guessed. Thank you, the four of you who think that's an exciting thing. For the rest of you, I'm sorry in advance. Because I have always prided myself as being a rather dynamic performer. And what this entire project has taught me is that I know all of 3 dance movies, or dance moves, and I do them over and over and over again. But yeah, well, thank you. You may not think that once you see me do it 14 songs in a row.
I'm gonna lose my voice.
Okay, well, you be excited about that. You know what, I think all of us queens kind of have our trademark moves, so I don't feel too bad. I watched Vanity Fair's one headliner show. Did you guys see it? Yes, she was fabulous, but hers was a lot of capes and drapes and just swish, swish, and then back bend. It was all the same over and over again. And then Godiva's was very, you know, spastic, just spaz, 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 fist bump, spaz, 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 fist bump. And occasionally she tried to shake it up and kicked a shoe in someone's face. So, Godiva, honey, stick to spaz, 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 fist bump, because we don't want to lose an eye this evening, do we?
No.
No, we do not. We do not. All right, so when I was planning the show, and I looked through my catalog of performances, I realized that I do a lot of dance numbers. So if you want a picture, take it now, because I can promise you, by set 2, this will look dramatically different. Very, very different. Because underneath all this glamour, and it is glamour, and a lot of chicken wire, underneath all this glamour, I really am a 40-year-old chubby ginger with a penis. So as you can probably imagine, I'm a sweaty, painful, uncomfortable mess up here. But I look good. I don't look as good as I did in my 20s. But, you know what, it's funny you say that because that's probably true because there's this weird thing that happens with drag queens. This and this are really pretty at the same time. Because when you are young and you are in shape and you think, I can wear a 2-piece bathing suit, I can strut my ass down the street in a pride parade, one testicle hanging out. When you are thin enough to do that, you really haven't been doing drag long enough to make this as pretty as the rest of you. And then by the time you've been doing drag long enough that this is beat to the gods, this has seen one too many rotisserie chickens. And eventually they're all gonna come home to roost, and I'm just gonna have to pay the piper. But that's okay. So while I was planning this show, I thought, well, I'm gonna try to make it as upbeat as possible, but I don't think any of you want me to drop dead on this stage. So I've also... I heard that, Rob. It's like applauding, yes, yes. Yeah. So I have worked in a couple of video montages, a couple of smaller, quieter, slower numbers for you. Nothing too boring, but something that's going to keep me from passing out. I mean, you are very handsome, and I would love to pass out on your lap later if you're available.
He's available!
Sorry, honey, you don't mind, do you? My husband's cute, he'll play too, it's okay. It's okay. I mean, by play, he'll watch and jerk off in a corner, but he's welcome to be in the room. So, progress, right? Progress. Anyway, so, do you guys want to see another number?
Yes!
Excellent. Because it's been so long since I've been on this stage, I'm really excited to do one for you. But before we do, I do have a little bit of housekeeping, okay? Nothing about masks and all that stuff. Hopefully you've all been given the rundown on that. But at some point throughout set one, I will be doing a little COVID-friendly audience participation. And so I'm going to test you periodically when I have the microphone. It is Halloween in about 2 weeks, yes?
Yeah.
So every time I say the word howl, what do you think I want you to do? Oh, very good. You've done this before.
First rodeo.
That's right. I'm suddenly picturing you on all fours howling at the moon. Well, maybe someone takes it from behind. Yeah? What was that? You're very tame? You're not, you are not my type sexually, but physically we could be friends. We're about the same bra size, so I think that'll work for us. I'm sorry, you've been replaced. If it helps, you have much better hair than I do. So
I did her hair. You're in luck. I did.
all right, because you know what? Now that I'm back on this stage, it doesn't matter what's happening in the world. With all of the other nonsense that's going on, whether you're ill or political or scientific or whatever you want to call it, I always feel just fine when I'm on this stage.
No, I love music. And every time I hear something hot, it makes me want to move. It makes me want to have fun. But it's something about this joint right here. This joint right here. It makes me want to... This joint right here. It makes me want to... Take
fine. Is your life fine? Round of applause. Is your life more than fine? You are here tonight on a Saturday night. We're alive, we're healthy, we're happy. I'd say that's all plus in my column. How about yours? Don't say you're happy or not, because I know you're not. It's okay. It's all right. I don't blame you. The feeling is mutual. No. I'm kidding. I love him. So, I gotta be honest. This was not my career choice. This was not something that I woke up one day and had a burning desire to do. I am what I like to lovingly refer to as an accidental drag queen. Because years ago, and I'm gonna age myself here, about 15 years ago, there was a little club called Buddy's Nightclub. Do you all remember Buddy's? Yes. What's that? What's that? I can tell you stories. But anyway, I used to be a bartender there at Buddy's. And every month, they have this competition called Drag Wars. And yes, and drag queens would compete for a chance to win $200 in cash. So, I'd seen all these other talentless bitches do it. I'm kidding. And I was like, well, you know what? I'm a little broke. I need to make rent. So I was like, well, maybe I could do it. So back 15 years ago, before you had to have, before the days of YouTube and Instagram, to become a drag queen, you actually had to know other drag queens. You had to be welcomed into their family of sorts and be taught the ways. So we had drag mothers. So of course, knowing this, I went out and I tried to pursue all kinds of different talented drag queens. Some you don't know anymore, some you probably still have heard of. So I asked people like Binky, who ran the other direction very quickly. And then I asked someone by the name of Ashley Love. Do you remember Ashley Love, anybody? Yes, Ashley Love also gave a resounding no. And then I asked my dear friend Godiva at the time. Yes, bitch also said no. So looking back, I don't know if they just didn't like me or if they were afraid I wasn't doing it for the right reasons. So eventually I did find someone who would paint me. And this person was not a drag queen by any means. This person was a cheerleader, a male cheerleader, who had done drag a handful of times. And I gotta be honest, and he knows I would say this, he was the most busted looking drag queen you have ever seen in your life. Like the only thing that would be less attractive than him in drag would be a homeless person jerking off over a pigeon. It was not a good look. But he was willing to paint me, and at the time I knew nothing. So he became my drag daddy. All right? Now, the first time I ever did drag, I looked pretty much as good as he did. So I like to think I improved since then. But the name that he christened me was not Tequila Mockingbird. In fact, we were sitting around and while they were painting me, because it took about 7 hours. And 7 hours and I still looked hideous. Anyway. So we were sitting around and I was talking about different names that I wanted, and I actually mentioned Tequila Mockingbird to him, and he was like, no child of mine is going to be named after liquor. So he decided he was going to name me Honey Heaven. That face, that was the face that I made inside when he christened me this, because I knew what it sounded like. It made me sound like an ugly stripper. Like I should be bow-legged with a poster in between my lips. And while people throw dollars at, okay, well, I wasn't quite dollar-worthy, pennies at me. And I knew that wasn't going to stick. So, but for the first couple of times I performed as Honey Heaven, because one of the rules was that when you won Drag Wars, you had to come back and compete the following month. And you also got slotted in a show the month that you won. So if I won in October, at the end of October, it was always the last Sunday of the month, then I would have to do a show in November and then come back and compete at the end of the month in November. Well, I won 3 or 4 times in a row. So, yes, I even won against Vanity Fair. You all know who Vanity Fair is? I was a hideous looking drag queen and I beat that bitch to the curb. She was not happy with me. We didn't speak for years after that. Girl had a hard-on for me, or hate-on for me, not a hard-on.
Maybe both. Why not both?
Don't tell Vanity Fair that she had a hard-on for me. I mean, it's probably true at some point. But, girl has a hard-on for everybody. But, yeah, so I wanted, by the time that I finished winning, I had already been in drag for 7 months. And this was the end result. I had fallen in love with it, and you got stuck with me. Not Honey Heaven, Tequila Mockingbird. I changed that thing very quickly. Very, very quickly. But everybody always asks, oh, I've got Jewel. Everyone always asks, how did you come up with your name? And the honest truth, well, I'll tell the lie first. The lie is that I love to read. And I was so in love with Tequila Mockingbird and the struggle between racial inequality that I chose the name Tequila Mockingbird in homage to that because I'm a good person. The reality is much different. The reality is that when I was growing up in my very small town of Evansburg, Alberta, if you haven't heard of it, don't worry, even the people who live there can't find it on a map. I was one of those kids who loved nothing but country music, and I also had a lot of angst, so I liked not just like new country music. There was not a Shania Twain album in the house. It was all like sad, miserable, slit your wrists country music. There's a tear in my beer and my dog left me and my wife hates me kind of shit. And I stumbled across a Pantilla song that I kind of fell in love with. I'm not going to play you the whole thing, but I am going to play you a little bit while I change. And that is what inspired my drag name. All right, so try not to slit your wrists while I'm away. I'll be right back. Are you all still here? You didn't all run away on me, did you? But I wasn't lying to you, did I? I didn't lie to you, did I? It is one of the most awful songs you've ever heard in your life, isn't it? Yeah, it's a sad lounge singer she lives in Mexico, I assume. With a name like Tequila, I assumed it's somewhere, you know, Hispanic. Her lover is murdered by the cartel because of a gambling debt, and she just sings her little sad heart out all night, every night. And yeah, so I have not listened to that song in about 15 years, and I remember why. But thank you for sitting through that, which gave me time to change. So, when you're a drag queen, there are wardrobe malfunctions that happen periodically, like I lost an earring and we all saw it fly away. It will, like the mockingbird that I'm christened after, it shall never return. It's gone somewhere. So I'm going to be making a fashion statement tonight with one earring, so thank you. Oh, I still have a backing. We can put it on during the intermission. Oh, here, take this. Take this. It's a miracle. Anyway, so when I started doing drag, I was surrounded by all these other people who were really talented: Binky, Godiva, Vanity Fair, Ethyl Alcohol, Crystal Ball. I don't know if you've ever heard of any of these bitches, but they were fabulous for their days. Now they're all dying or dead or old. Old and on their way to being dying and dead. So, but anyway, we were, they welcomed me into their fold with open arms, which is really great, but I needed a niche. I didn't really have Crystal's dancing ability, and I didn't really have Godiva's ability to kick shoes in people's faces. And I didn't really have, I hadn't really narrowed out a corner of the market for me. But what I learned really quickly was that I could lip sync better than most of those girls. Because they were so worried about dance moves and stuff that a lot of the times, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say her name, Vanity Fair is a prime example. I love Vanity Fair, but a lot of her lip syncs kind of look like she's trying to give a gummer to a really big man. Or there's an old drag queen, Mia Fellow. I love Mia Fellow to pieces. She is what we consider drag family. But every single song that she lip syncs to, she looks like a bad Japanese dubbing on like a World War II film. It's like, the thing. Like it's really bad. So I learned that I could lip sync better than most of them. And so what I want to do for you now, I'm going to bring out a chair. What I want to do for you now is showcase just a little bit of that and how lip syncing is really an art. You can call us drag queens, you can call us, just drag performers, but I like to refer to us as lip sync artists a lot of the time, because being a good drag queen, and I'm not great at every song, but being a good drag queen is really about mastering the breath and mastering the words. So I'm just going to sit here, if you don't mind, and I'm going to do one number for you that requires no movement at all. You just need to pay attention to my lips, and this chair is going to fall over and go.
This evening has been swell, a first date in New York. You asked the proper questions, you used the proper fork. You looked into my eyes, you were calm, light, composed. You even bypassed my pet peeve and chewed with your mouth closed. We paid the check, you walked me home, a sweet kiss at my door. And then came the big question, would I like to see you more? Well, I shouldn't make a date without my book in front of me, 'cause I'm always double booking, which can cause catastrophe. And although it's never personal, just really oversight, I tipped off many friends and with my mother had a fight about my irresponsibility and how it's done my room. To be so absent-minded and show such ingratitude as to not remember who and when and where I said I'd be. But my mother is impossible and somehow doesn't see that it's strictly lack of focus or there's too much on my mind, so that little things like names and dates get somehow left behind. And somehow I cannot access instant corner of my brain. But I didn't mean to bring mom up or stand here and complain, for the simple point I'm trying to make, despite the time it took, is that I really can't do anything without my friggin' book. It would be remiss to not pay some attention to the simple fact that both of us are busy. Did I mention I take a class in pottery and practical philosophy, which mother finds indulgent, but it's just my curiosity about the world around me. So that means without a doubt that Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday afternoons are simply out. And I'm sure you have your conflicts and appointments you must keep. And then there's all the little things like laundry, food, and sleep. Not to say that it's impossible I mean, is it too soon after the last misadventure to put myself through that kind of assorted mess again? Sure, they say that time is healing, and I truly feel, of course, when one falls off, the best advice is jump back on the horse. But the wounds aren't even slow to healing, even though I've tried. I sometimes feel I need to be the bridesmaid, not the bride. Oh my God, I must be swimming in some red, white sort of haze. I'm resorting now to metaphors and tired of cliches. You really must forgive me for it's far from illustrative of the normal sort of gal I am, whose mind is so creative. This rambling's got to cease, for I know you must be weary of the seemingly ridiculous avoidance of your query. Oh gosh. So I guess the simple truth, which defies all comprehension, is there was a quicker path to take than this prolonged invention. When you asked me for another date, it caused me to digress. I should have gotten to the point and simply answered, no.
Fist bump back there for Godiva, who is helping me out doing all my changes tonight. So round of applause for Godiva. She is being a lifesaver tonight. Although I gotta be honest, when I got here, I was a little concerned that she has been the wrong person to ask to help me. Because I tried to get her, I did. I was changing into that beautiful naked outfit.
Yeah.
Wasn't that outfit gorgeous? Oh, if I could, honey, if I go before you, I want to be buried in that outfit. All right? I mean, open casket and all. Fuck the haters. I want them to see me in my rhinestone glory. But anyway, I got here, and I had it halfway up, and she was trying to zip me up all the way. And she's like, it's not working. I don't understand. What's wrong with this neck? She's hyperventilating backstage. I'm like, bitch, cool it. I'm the one going on stage here naked. This doesn't work. And she's like, oh, it's got a neck piece I have to button. And I was like, you can't figure out a stupid fucking button? I asked you to get me changed from outfit to outfit in 30 seconds and you're struggling with a button? Oh God. Oh God. But anyway, because I was back there, she's one of my closest and dearest friends. You know, we've known each other almost 20 years, which is really exciting. And even more exciting, we've known each other almost 20 years, and we've never slept together. That's almost unheard of in gay culture. I can count on one hand how many of my friends have all known each other for 10 years of the same sexual persuasion and gender, and have not slept together. 3. All of them drag queens. Well, not you, Robert. I've never slept with you. Not that he hasn't tried. But no, seriously, like 3. And they're all drag queens mostly because, and I have a theory about this. I think it's because drag queens are so uninterested in sex overall. Because we're so busy fucking our own asses that we don't really want or have room for anything else. Just a theory. Just a theory. But anyway, when I first became friends with Godiva, she really introduced me to musical theater. And growing up in the small town of Evansburg where I did, we weren't exposed to that kind of thing. We weren't exposed to musical theater. The occasional pedophile, but not musical theater. So, I wish I was kidding. Anyway, Google that shit. There are stories. Anyway, yeah, so she really exposed me, not to herself, like I already mentioned, but she exposed me to musical theater. So over the last 15 years, there were some I've already seen, like Grease and stuff like that, but those are movies, right? But she really exposed me to musical theater. And I still love, like, the classics. You know, Grease and Hairspray and Mamma Mia and that kind of thing. And I really fell in love with them when I saw them in movie form because theater is expensive and I'm a cheap cunt. Sorry if that word offends you, but there's no other word to describe it. I'm as cheap as they come. So, while I change, I really wanted to introduce you to all of my favorites, all right? So please enjoy this video montage about music and movies.
You can't stop an avalanche as it races down the hill. You can try to stop the seasons, girl, but you know you never will. And you could try to stop my dancing feet, but I just cannot stand still. 'Cause the world keeps spinning round and round, my heart keeps in time to the speed of sound. I was lost till I heard the drums, and I found my way. 'Cause you can't stop the beat ever since this whole world began. A woman found out she should shake up a man. So I'm gonna shake and shimmy is the best that I can today. 'Cause you can't stop the motion of the ocean or the sun in the sky. You could wonder if you wanna, but I never ask why. And if you try to hold me down, I'm gonna spit in your eye and say that you can't stop the beat.
You can't stop my happiness, 'cause I like the way I am. And you just can't stop my knife and fork when I see a Christmas ham. So if you don't like the way I look, well, I just don't give a damn. 'Cause the world keeps spinning round and round, and my heart's keeping time to the speed of she shook it, she can shake up a man. And so I'm gonna shake and shimmy it the best that I can today. 'Cause you can't stop the motion of the ocean or the sun in the sky. You can wonder if you wanna, but I never ask why. And if you try to pull me down, I'm gonna spit in your eye and say that you can't stop the beat.
Just ain't your style. Just give that teacher a wink and a smile. For a passing grade, you won't have to wait, and you can thank him later when you graduate. 'Cause I never met a wolf who didn't love to howl. I never met a man who wasn't on the prowl. If a price diploma you wanna get, well then make that teacher the student's pet. Yeah, I never met a wolf who didn't love to howl. His toys, but he really is just one of the boys. If you've got something for which he's craving, it sure is good that he's been saving. Be a fan, give his cheek a peck, but get his autograph on a cashier's check. Yeah, I never met a wolf who didn't love to howl. I never met a man who wasn't on the prowl. If that wolf's just a gray old goat, he still gonna make a nice fur coat.
wrong. I'm not complaining, girl.
I feel my body chill, gives me a special thrill. Each time I see that Guido neo-realism, I love the darkness of guys with the steam guitars, just nothing out of sight. I love to watch them make moves with the pointy leather shoes, from shades in the middle of the night. Whatever Guido does, it makes me smile. Yes, yes, it's an Italian style. Of the glamorous and Latin world, what the Guido can portray. Continue cinema, Italiano. I love it, cinema, Italiano. It makes me feel a cinema Italiano. My love is real, a cinema Italiano. He's the king of cinema Italiano. A scene I love to see, Guido's POV. There's no one else with his unique director's vision. His angles wide and tight, each moment feels so right. If God's Italian style, but only his decision. I love the speed of how it can call me by the sleep. When I'm Positano, Guido's the ultimate Waldo Romano. Continue cinema, Italiano. I love it, cinema, Italiano. Guido, Guido, Guido. Guido, Guido, Guido. Guido, Guido, Guido.
Ladies, I think it's time to switch roles. Come on, girls.
Now it's time to free me from the chain. I gotta find that peace. Is it too late, or could this love protect me from the pain? I would battle for you, even if I break it too. Freak out, freak out, freak out, freak out. Oh, get down and get down and get down and get down. Get down tonight. Freak out, freak out, freak out, freak out. Look at me now, 'cause all I ever wanted was love. All I ever wanted was love. I want just to be loved. I want just to be loved.
25 years and my life is still trying to get up that great big hill of hope for a destination. Into a crisis, times when I'm lying in bed just to get it all out what's in my head. And I am feeling a little peculiar. And so I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream from the top of my lungs, what's going
moving up there, comparing on and caviar. A late night yes sir leads to good press sir, and takes a girl pretty far. Now my name's in lights above the title, or it's not on the dotted line. On the back lots now, I call the shots now. When there's a contract to sign, I'm up in a big time, so I make them wait. I'm up in a big time, so I'm always late. Tell them all let's do lunch, they give them that 1-2 punch. Heart of the big rock, there's that big time bunch. Hit the right places, I cover my bases, I do what I have to, smile till it hurts, baby, wear short skirts, baby, going up each baby, but I won't take it a single square inch, baby. Up here in a big time, I've got big time friends, I wanna make sure that big time never ends. My motto is up, up, down, I live on the bottom line. I'm here in the A-team, wet dream, big time. It's coming up roses and Barrymore noses. We're full of sweaty, what is it, you bet. When you make that climb from the nickel and dime to the cities alone, big time.
Welcome back! That was a quick intermission, but me, went over time for set 1, so we're gonna try to rush through set 2. Which is just as energetic as set 1, and I had to reapply an entire new face. So if I look a little cakey and powdery, it's because, oh, thank you. But if I look a little cakey and powdery, it's because the alternative was to look like I just took a swim in the Atlantic Ocean. Very salty water, very salty. And kind of tasted a little bit like old hairspray, not gonna lie. When I was doing that finale, okay, in the future, my love, if I ever have a burning desire to do 3 high-energy back-to-back numbers as a finale, shoot me in the cunt. Just punch me right here, and I will come to my senses very quickly, because that was bullshit. I don't know if you could see the wheels turning in my head. Halfway through Does Your Mother Know that you're out, I realized I have 3.5 more minutes. And the look of sheer terror in my eyes as I'm like flipping that hoop skirt around, and I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna die. So just so you know, that happens again at the end. Because, you know, I feel you have to go big or go home, right? I don't want you guys coming to my show and then be like, that bitch is boring. I mean, I've been called a lot of things. Slutty, bitchy, pretty much all of the skanky spices that you could think of. But I have never, ever been called boring. Never. I mean, maybe in bed, but that... You know, I don't know if I'm a bottom because I enjoy it or if I'm a bottom because I'm lazy as shit. Like I'm like, yeah, just wake me when you're done. I'm good. I'm good. I mean, I'm sure if I died during intercourse, he wouldn't notice. I'm just saying, like, he'd be like, oh, you're really enjoying this. You're really stiff. You got it. You got the dead joke. You got it. All right. All right, so we are going to... Did you like the little opening number?
Yeah.
And how about the music leading up to it? That was I found it online because I'm not that creative. I found it online and it just happened to be a mashup of all of my favorite musical artists. So those are all the musical inspirations that I've had. I've done Cher, and I've done Katy Perry, and I've done all of those great artists. Because I think as a drag queen, it's really important to find music that you resonate with. Because you're the one who's going to have to make the audience believe it. Like Cher says in Burlesque, you're going to make me believe that you belong up there. And that's pretty much... Whoa! But that's pretty much my worst Cher impression ever, but hey, I had to give it a go, right? But that's pretty much the gist of being a drag performer, is to, do songs that you can perform well, and that you hope the audience enjoys, because if I was still in my prepubescent 13-year-old, I only love sad country music phase, I'm sure doing a 2-hour show of just me and a banjo would be somewhat differently received. Yes? Yes? Okay.
I'd still be here, girl.
So this set is going to be a combination of a bunch of different things. We've got some country music coming up. Yes? Not a lot, but we've got some show tunes. We got some 80s hits. So why don't we just get started? What do you guys say? All right, let me just put this down.
Hallelujah, come on, get happy. happy. We're gonna chase all your cares away. Shout hallelujah, come on, get happy. Get ready for the judgment day. Forget your troubles, come on, get happy. The Lord is waiting to take your hand. Shout hallelujah, come on, get happy. We're going to the promised land. We're going across the river, wash your sins away in the tide. It's out so peaceful on the other side. It's troubles, come on, get happy. We're gonna chase all your cares away. Shout hallelujah, come on, get happy. Get ready for the judgment day.
I can do a shot of tequila backstage. Sociables, everyone! Whew. Now, what was I supposed to talk about? Oh, yes. Trademark numbers. All right. So this is the part of the show that a lot of people have been waiting for. Because I've been doing drag about 15 years, and I don't really have a lot of trademark numbers. You know, a lot of queens do. Vanity Fair has Fancy and Celine, and I'm sure she has a lot of others, because, you know, she's older than God. So, and then Godiva has, you know, Wicked and Life of the Party and numbers like that. And I, as a performer, really starting out, I couldn't find something that people hadn't already done. Because believe it or not, I am not the first person to discover Linda Eder. I am not the first person to ever hear a Pointer Sisters song and be like, that would make good drag. You know, it's very rare after, I mean, drag has been a thing since forever. I'm sure the Egyptians were walking around in drag. I mean, the guys certainly wore enough eyeliner, am I right? Anyway, so I struggled for a long time to find a number that was me, that I could be the first person to do it, and probably, I can say with confidence, the only person to do it. And I'm kind of stalling because it's a busy speaking number and I need some oxygen. But anyway, what I'm going to do for you now are two numbers that I believe, I can say with confidence, I'm the only person in Edmonton, probably, maybe even in Canada.
The world.
Well, maybe the world, but I doubt that. In Canada, I know to have done at least one of these numbers, and every time I do this number, it's a huge hit. So I'm hoping it's a hit for you this evening. And the second number that I'm going to do is a brand new signature number. No one had ever heard of it until about 2 weeks ago, and I pulled it out of my ass, and it was the first time I did it, so you can imagine it kind of smelled like it too. Yeah. So here we go. Do you guys want to see my signature numbers?
I've been asking everybody I know that's been married 25 years now. How do you find them? How do you know? They've all told me the exact same thing. It doesn't matter, race, creed, color, religion, throw that out the door. What matters in finding the right person is to find the person who's gonna jungle fuck you until the day you die. You know what I'm talking about, too. Not doing the nasty, not porking, not making love, jungle fucking. That kind of thing where even after 25 years of marriage, when you get up in the morning and your knee accidentally touches his knee under the breakfast table, even after 25 years of marriage, you still look at each other and go, women in relationships like this will walk around all damn day long going, that's my monkey man. That's my jackhammer of lust. That's my stallion of passion. I'm gonna climb him like a pole and ride him like a mad thief through hell. And men in relationships like this, every time you think about your woman, you gotta go down on one knee to look at something that's not there because you got a Woody on you just thinking about that girl. Hey Phil, how's Wanda? Good Lord, look at the carpet in the office. Yep, that's a fine old carpet. Yeah, that's a good carpet, like that carpet. Yeah. And when you go home from work, ladies, you go home a little bit early and you take all the white light bulbs out of the house and put red ones in because everybody in here knows no matter how old and flappity-assed you get, everybody is a sex goddess under red lights. You put on your best lingerie and it doesn't matter if you look like a marshmallow with rubber bands around it. You're his woman. He loves you. You make his favorite dinner. You put it on the table with the best dishes and he comes home. He's got a nice bottle of champagne for you, a nice little trinket of love, piece of jewelry, something real nice. You look at him and say, to hell with those gifts. He looks at you and says, to hell with this dinner because the time for jungle fucking has commenced. He grabs you by the hair and slams you down on that table and those dishes go flying in 1,000 different pieces, in 1,000 different places, and you don't care if they were your great-grandmother's dishes. She's been dead for 40 years. Fuck her, it's your turn now. He takes you by the hair and he drags you across that kitchen linoleum and smoke is rising from the passion in your loins as you go. And he takes you into the living room across that carpeting and as you go, the straddlehandler's spinning, the TV's flashing, the VCR's blowing up, the shades are going up and down, up and down, up and down. And you get naked from the sheer friction across that carpeting and by the time he gets you naked to the bedroom, he's got his pants and his underpants down around his ankles and you think he looks good that way. He throws you on the bed, you start humping and fucking and slurping and sliding and chewing and gnawing and death charming and screaming and scratching and carrying on and you got a piece of flesh in your mouth and you don't know whose it is or what it is and you don't give a good goddamn about now because the sheets are in the air and the mattress is out the window and the box springs is in the closet and the next thing you know, your ass is jammed between that bed frame and that wall and your legs are splayed straight up into heaven as if to say, thank you God for this man. Oh, thank you God. at you saying, take it like the bitch you are. You're looking at him saying, drive me home with that Cadillac, daddy man. And you reach that beautiful moment where your souls are tossed across the black void into the sparkling universe to dance among the stars. Upwardly, downwardly, inwardly, outwardly, around and around. Again and again and again. And then he looks at you at that moment. The way only a man in love looks at his woman at that moment. And you're looking at him going, and he thinks you're the most divine creature God ever made. Now that's all I'm asking for. Is that too much?
Booze will keep you happy till you're 6 feet under grass. And though I've toasted Mom in heaven since I was 6 or 7, my happiness has yet to come to pass. When I find I have to trot, Ma's advice goes down real nice, but it just don't hit the spot. No, there's one drink they can't sell me. My mom forgot to tell me. A man doesn't come in a glass. What good is whiskey? I've been through the best in the bar. Whiskey ain't got whiskers wrapped around a cigar. Pour me a face black with bristle. Watch me wet my whistle. Just pour me a man. What good is scotch, whether it's with or without the old twist? Scotch ain't got a watch around its hairy left wrist. Pour me a punk or pumped up pinko. I'll still end up stinko. Just pour me a man. Liquor, they say, is quicker, they say. But what I want's even quicker. And it's thicker. What good is beer? I've had enough to fill Niagara Falls. But beers ain't got 2 ears, 2 eyes, 2 arms, 2 legs under a pair of overalls. Pour me a mug with a head on top. I'll chug him drop by drop and make him last as long as I can. And if he's inclined to be enamored, I'll still end up hammered. Pour me a straight up, better make it a stiff one. Pour me a double, nothing but trouble. What good's Midori? A Hawaiian liquor at its best. Midori can't adore me while it's flexing its chest. Pour me a fabulous former felon who gives me a mouthful of melon. Yes. Just pour me a man. What good is vodka? I've been drinking 8 bottles a week. Can vodka beat a bud complete with godlike physique? I wanna come close to a concussion, choking down my first white Russian. Just pour me a man. Liquor's a blast when you wanna get gas, but I'm past just getting drunk. Pour me a hunk. What good's the bubbly, which I used to drink like a dunce? The bubble ain't worth the trouble. It only pops its cork once. Pour me a guy who gives me the jitters every time he gives me the bitters. Pour me a sizzling 6-foot spritzer. Pour me a non-stop, good to the last drop. Pour me a low down, knows how to go down.
Hello.
Hi.
What?
Lou!
You have one job.
What's up?
It's Raw. There we go. I'm sorry, Godiva. It's Raw. He got too excited about men and finding a man.
Here's the raw, Mike.
And you're doing my tequila. I wish someone would do my tequila. Not you, honey. I'm sorry. So honestly, have any of you ever heard any of those numbers before? Those two numbers there? No? So can I say with some confidence that they're my numbers, my trademark? So the first one is called Jungle Fucking. What did you guys think of that? That is probably one of my favorite numbers to do because all I have to do is stand on stage and look really horny. Which is like art imitating life. Because that is my default setting. Not for you, honey. 11 years together, you know. It is a beautiful thing. And if COVID has taught me anything, is that I would happily die for my husband. I would. I love him that much. But I could also potentially die from my husband. And so that makes my eyes wander elsewhere just in case. You know. Just in case. You know. But anyway, so yeah, those are my two trademark numbers and I absolutely love them and hopefully I'll come across more in the future. When I was growing up, again in a very small town, and I'll hate to mention it again, Edmonton. Google it, really. Google it. But I wasn't exposed to a lot of art. I wasn't exposed to a lot of strong feminine role models because, believe it or not, in the 90s, being a gay boy was not an easy thing. We were just off the cusp of the AIDS epidemic or the AIDS crisis, right? So it was, you know, there was a lot of stigma still, and still is, about gay people, especially in small rural communities like that. And so, I didn't have a lot of role models on TV. We didn't have, this is pre-Will and Grace, this was pre-Queer as Folk. We didn't have any gay role models that I could look at on TV or in music, aside from Elton John. And clearly I took a page out of his book, because I'm sequin-clad in rhinestone to high heaven. But as a kid who didn't have access to a glue gun or sequins, my mother kept those remarking key. But anyway, I didn't really have a lot of role models, so I looked for role models in TV and movies. And like many of you, round of applause, how many of you really related to the strong female characters of the 80s and 90s because you didn't have role models elsewhere? Anybody? Exactly. So, while I quickly go and change, I would like to present to you a little video montage about all the different role models that I found on TV. Strong, kick-ass women, because you know what? Women really are the stronger sex. Sorry, guys. They really are. And there's like 4 women in the room who clapped for that. I'm gonna get shanked backstage because all of the men in the room were like, did she just call us weak? Yeah, I did, because I got my own dick up my ass just to look like a woman, and that takes super strength. So, you know what? Yeah. Women deal with this shit all day. My feet are bleeding, for fuck's sakes. And there are women here right now who have more blood coming out of them than a horror movie. So don't you dare say that women are not strong. But anyway, I'm going to let you watch this while I change, because these are the people who helped create this person standing in front of you.
Misfits.
working in a bridal shop in Flushing, Queens, till her boyfriend kicked her out in one of those crushing scenes. What was she to do? Where was she to go? She was out on her fanny. So over the bridge from Flushing to the Sheffield's door, she was there to sell makeup, but the father saw more. She had style, she had flair, she was there. That's how she became the nanny. Who would have guessed that the girl we described was just exactly what the doctor prescribed? Now the father finds her beguiling, watch out, CC, and the kids are actually smiling. Such joie de vivre. She's the lady in red when everybody else is wearing tan. The flashy girl from Flushing, the nanny named Fran. Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pal and a confidant. And if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew, you would see the biggest gift would be from me, and the card attached would say, thank you for being a friend.
Excuse me. Aren't you Marjorie, the current Miss Georgia World? I'm Julia Sugarbaker, Suzanne Sugarbaker's sister. I couldn't help overhearing part of your conversation.
Well, I'm sorry. I didn't know anyone was here.
Yes, and I gather from your comments there are a couple of other things you don't know, Marjorie. For example, you probably didn't know that Suzanne was the only contestant in Georgia pageant history to sweep every category except congeniality. That is not something the women in my family aspire to anyway. Or that when she walked down the runway in her swimsuit, 5 contestants quit on the spot. Or that when she emerged from the isolation booth to answer the question, what would you do to prevent war? She spoke so eloquently of patriotism, battlefields, and diamond tiaras, grown men wept. And you probably didn't know, Marjorie, that Suzanne was not just any Miss Georgia. She was the Miss Georgia. She didn't twirl just a baton. That baton was on fire. And when she threw that baton into the air, it flew higher, further, faster than any baton has ever flown before, hitting a transformer and showering the darkened arena with sparks. And when it finally did come down, Marjorie, my sister caught that baton, and 12,000 people jumped to their feet for 16½ minutes of uninterrupted thunderous ovation as flames illuminated her tear-stained face. And that, Marjorie, just so you will know, and your children will someday know, is the night the lights went out in Georgia.
Give
If you enjoyed the show, please follow Evolution Wonderlounge on social media and check out all their upcoming shows. You guys really have been so great to me. I thought no one would come, and you really did fill my heart so much today. Thank you.
Love you, Queen.
If you wait after this number, I might have one encore for you, but only to make enough noise. Thank you again for coming.
The audience wants an encore?
I don't know if they liked me. They don't seem to be making enough noise.
Come on, Tinkerbell!
Yeah!
Ugh.